How we doing, everybody?
Hola,
Welcome to another episode of Getting Jiggly With It. I'm Will.
I'm Adri.
And what are we doing today?
We are doing our top 25 games of all the time.
Of all time.
All
So this is the first video. So of course, if you want to see our number one or anything in between, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell notification to know when we upload the rest of this series. But today we're going to go from 25 to 21. So these are our bottom of the pack games, but still pretty good games. We were thinking about doing a top 50, but since this is the first year we've done one this extensive, I figured we'll wean ourselves in. Last year we did a top 10, this year top 25. Next year, maybe 50, maybe 100. Who knows? Subscribe and you'll find out, right? All right. So we're going to go ahead and let Adri start. So Adri, what is your number 25?
My number 25 is Wolfwalkers.
Wolfwalkers, My Story. So there are two Wolfwalkers. There's actual board game as well. So this is My Story, the card game.
So in this game, you have cards and you have objectives.
Which Adri seems to like objectives. Go watch our patterns as well. Go watch our top 10 games from last year that's uploaded on the channel.
So in this game, your cards have images and icons that need to be placed. In order in a certain pattern to accomplish or to complete your objective. Each objective has different.
You choose your objective. So the cards are double-sided. So one side has an objective, one side has the story. So when you're pooling, you choose from either the objective cards or the story card, whichever one you want to use. Those objective cards actually go in your tableau as well. So they do fill up some space.
So the reason why I like this game is because the objectives, and it has the option to choose which one you want to do, if you want to use it to complete your tableau and make your objective, or if you want to use it for the objective. So it is simple, it is small, it is pretty.
The art's really good art.
The art is really pretty.
Did you take this one to Colombia? Yes.
I think I did. I don't remember if I played with my sister.
Might have to take it to Colombia and see if she played with her sister.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wolfwalkers is a cute little game based on an Apple series, a little pattern building tableau of cards, and you place them in certain positions to basically, like Adri says, get those objectives or have so many of a particular type of card to score those points. So that was your number 25.
Wolfwalkers, My Story.
So my number 25 actually was kind of a shock to me because I've only played this once and I haven't played it with Adri yet. So I played it solo. My number 25 is Transformers, the deck building game. Really like deck building games. We got Clank and then I got Star Realms. Power Rangers was The Hunger was no, so kind of giving away future. But anytime Renegade has released another deck builder, the G.I. Joe, Transformers, we do have My Little Pony that we need to play as well. I picked it up. So in Transformers, you have a matrix, the matrix that you are trying to move your little standee, I got a little miniature that I painted for Optimus Prime, around the matrix. You have a certain amount of action points that you can use. You have your, deck of cards that you're going to be playing for the number of movement or the number of attack and so forth. You're going to be able to go out to the matrix, flip over the card. It could be a card that you can recruit, like another Autobot, or it could be a Decepticon who then basically surprises you and then attacks you. And you're going to be moving through the matrix. Every time you take a card, refresh, until you get to the big bad of your deck. So whatever big bad you've shoveled in, or if you've done it randomly, and then you need to defeat that big bad. So this game can be played as a cooperative. It can be played as competitive. It can be played as teams. Lots of variety and variability in the game of how you can play the game. It was just, I think with this one, a lot of is the IP, the nostalgia, the Transformers nostalgia. I really liked the game. I liked what it did. I liked deck builders. So it does belong in my top 25. It was just a shocker that it was, considering I've only played it once. Another one that I didn't make the list, of course, was the G.I. Joe deck builder. I think it was number 26. So both of them are like right there. Power Rangers, I can't tell you. And that's because it's not cooperative. I think with G.I. Joe and Transformers, the benefits, it's cooperative. Me and Adri like playing cooperatively for most of our card-based deck building games versus competitively. So that is my number 25, Transformers, the deck building game.
My number 24 is Welcome to. Welcome to is a flip and write game. Yep. So you have your sheet with a neighborhood and you flip 2 cards.
You flip one card and you do the back.
But you get you get a number and you get an action. So you have your little houses on your neighborhood, and then this number that appears here, you need to place it, but in a way you can never place a higher number before this number. They have to go from low to high, right? So you need to make sure that you complete it that way. You have to think well where to place the number, and then completing the objective could be something like creating fences or creating a swimming pool. There was something about trees as well.
Yeah, have basically 2 neighborhoods that are size 2, one neighborhood that's size 3, one neighborhood that's size 4.
Yes. Because those are going to be at the end. Well, you score what you have, and then you will add everything, and that will be your score. So I like it because I think this was the first type of this.
Might have been one of our first writing games.
Yeah, and I thought it was very interesting and different, and it makes you think. But also, I always like having different options, so you can actually choose
what you want to do.
And that's something that I think is
nice. We do have Welcome to, which we've played on the channel once or twice. We've got a couple more. We haven't played all of the expansions, but we do have Welcome to New Las Vegas, which we still haven't played. And then there's actually a campaign Welcome to, which is Welcome to the Moon. So that might actually be a little bit more fun for me because I like campaign style things where you can go one after the other and kind of build up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very kind of thinky.
But I like it also because we played it with your parents and your sister.
We played it with my mom and my sister, yeah.
And I think that makes me be attached to the game.
Nostalgic, yeah. A lot of games for Adri, there's a little bit different. Adri is more of a feeler. I'm more of a thinker. So for me, I want the theme and the story, and if I'm going to do the thinky, I want certain type of thinky. Whereas Adri, she wants pretty and cute and fun, IP recognition, or something that she's familiar with or has ties to, like because she played it. It was her first game she ever played.
Yes.
It's a game that she played with her family.
It reminds me
it reminds her of something, which is fine. Remember, everybody's ranking is based on why they want to play a game.
This brings up that memory too.
Yeah. But yeah, so Welcome to is Adri's número
24.
24.
I was gonna say, what I was speaking in Spanish.
Why are you speaking Spanish? So my number 24 actually was on my list last year and is fallen quite a bit if you consider that we only did a top 10 last year. Last year was number 8, and that is Aftermath. Aftermath is a fun game. We probably played it a little bit earlier in our hobby than we should have, which has really affected Adri's take on the game. But there is a newer game that's going to be a little bit higher on my list that kind of is the reason this one got pushed down so far. We played a lot of new games that I liked. So in Aftermath, it is a storybook game where you're using cards to determine the actions that you can do. So your cards are going to be used for movement, and your cards are also going to be used for your attacking of the bad guys. You got miniatures, you have a deck, you can search for upgrades to equipment and weapons. It's very RPG-esque. The battle system is by playing those cards, those limited cards that you have, and then rolling a die to see if those cards are modified in any way. I think one reason for you not particularly liking it, we did have to control 2 characters each. It's recommended to play with all 4 characters so you can see the full story and it makes sense. It does make it a little bit harder for newer gameplay, and I think that's the other reason it's kind of fallen down to 24. We've not played it again, really, and it is hard to pick up and play with all 4 of those characters because they're all very different, and you have to remember what you were using each one for. Like, one's good at searching, one of the other ones might be good at like fighting and so forth. So it kind of adds a little bit of strategy how you want to play, but you have to remember that when you start setting it back up again, you have to remember what you did on the previous rounds. So it's a lot to get back into. And that's with a lot of campaign games. And I think that's why a lot of campaign games will have a hard time staying on our list if we don't start playing them more on the channel. Because unfortunately, we don't play many games off the channel. But that is my number 24 Aftermath.
My number 23 is Brew. So, Brew.
Like coffee.
Brew is a game in which you roll dice. You have some animals, you have potions that you can make, you have what is this, land? Locations. And then according to what you roll, you're going to place the dice, and it's kind of like area control, because then whatever you own, you can match one of the, or get one of the animals for that location. You also brew potions. No.
Yeah, you go with your dice worker placements. You're putting your workers, your dice out to get resources. That's the main reason to put them out, is to get the resources so you can brew your potions.
Yeah, and is very cute. It's animals, and the art is really pretty and colorful. So it has different things like collecting resources, rolling the dice, some of area control, some of like collecting the animals. So I think it has different mechanisms.
Different. Nah, it's not mechanism. It's different objectives. Maybe objectives.
Different objectives, and I think that the theme also makes me interested in it.
Yeah. You'd like worker placement. That's really what it is. It's dice placement is worker placement. Adri likes worker placement. She likes having objectives to go after. So by seeing, there's a potion I can get. If I get these resources, that gets me that potion, which gets me points. It gives that focus in terms of what to work for, versus a game where you're just kind of going wherever and hoping you accomplish something.
Yeah.
All right, so that is Adri's number 23, Brew. Number 22 for me. Oh no, I'm doing 23 as well. I'm going after you. 23 for me is Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. I don't know where this was on last year. I do know it was in Adri's top 10 though. But Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North, you are building a tableau. So you're building your little village out of your cards. It is a race to 25 points. So these cards that you're going to place are going to allow you to do different actions, as well as get resources and things that you're going to need to do other actions. Each faction is asymmetric, so each of the different characters that are the different expansions and the different characters you can get there, they're all asymmetric. So they all got their little bit of a different way of how they play and how they build their engine for endgame. There's also a little rondel. So one of the actions you can take is go out to that rondel. The rondel is going to allow you to harvest. It's going to allow you to gain resources. It's going to allow you to send a ship out so you can go to the islands. And what you're trying to do is just basically build a tableau to get points. Whoever, like I said, gets to the 25 points, triggers end of game. You do some of your end point scoring. Whoever has the most points wins. It's a nice mix of, I don't want to say worker placement, because it's not really worker placement. It's just that we struggle with engine building games, but this one, for some reason, we both liked, right? I don't know if it's a combination of the asymmetric powers, because we like asymmetric powers and abilities in games. The extra things that you can do outside of building your little tableau by going out to send your ships out to do some type of action out there. You have multiple cards in your hand that you're playing and choosing what you want to do. It just makes for a very fun time. It's not too complicated. Some of the later expansions start to get a little bit more complicated in terms of being able to figure out how to get that scoring to start working, because it is a race. I mean, in the end, it is a race. You want to be able to get up and running as quickly as possible, so that way you can start scoring points to get to that 25 so you can trigger the end game. I don't think we've ever played it quickly, no. But that's just us, right? So, and it's not a detriment to the game. Still enjoy the game. That is number 23, Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. That's a very long name. Most people just call it Empires of the North.
Yeah, it is a long
Yeah.
name.
So number 22.
My number 22 is Villainous. Both Marvel or Disney. In general, Villainous is a game in which you have a realm and you have, it's not a, what is it called? It's not a miniature.
They call it a
it's
mover.
A mover. Okay, so it's a mover that has a very weird look, but it actually represents the character. And in the realm you have sections, and each section has different actions that you can take. There is an objective that each character is going to have. So it could be either affect somebody or collect certain amount of energy, power, or complete one challenge, complete one objective. And the challenge is there is a fate deck. So you have the option to go to a section where there is a fate action, and when that happens, you're going to choose from the fate deck of your opponent, and that is going to be something that to affect them. So you affect them in different ways. So it could be
Remove one of their cards.
removing one of the cards, or even removing one of the actions, or covering
Adding
one
a
card.
hero, which covers the spot.
Yeah. So it is really nice. It is really beautiful. You can select between. You can choose between many characters. Each of them has a different objective that is, of course, thematic.
Well, the not only objective, but even the way they play, because their deck is going to be different. How their deck functions, it's the cards they get to play on their turn is completely different as well. So it's it's that asymmetric that I just mentioned on Imperial Settlers. That variety and differences makes it fun.
Right. There is a difference between the Marvel and the Disney. So in the Marvel one, there is a fate deck that we share, right? And
it also has some events in it that have to be completed.
I like both, but Marvel I think is higher in my
and I think Marvel we like a little bit better at 2-player. Now we've not played it much higher than that, but I think at 2-player the Marvel stops the constant fading each other back and forth, because if the events come back, or if it's a fate that cannot go to the other person, it doesn't happen. So it stops that, what we always happen in Disney, where we just keep fading each other at the end until one of us finally, hopefully, can't fate and we come out ahead. Villainous is one of the games I like as well. Not sure, don't think it made my list. It did not make my list. I don't know where it was in my list, because for whatever reason I did to our 25 and then I cut it. I didn't paste the whole list. But yeah, Villainous is fun. The asymmetric powers and whatnot. For me, the reason it isn't in my top 25 is what I just mentioned, that kind of take thatiness, where it's like, I feel like in some games, if you don't get up and going, it overstays its welcome. It feels like this game should be over in like 30 minutes, and 2 hours later, we're still trying to beat up on each other.
Yeah, it happened many times.
All right.
That's my number 22, Villains.
22 Villainous. All right. So my number 22 is Funfair. Funfair is the little brother to Unfair, which they basically took the unfair out of Funfair. So basically it is another little tableau game where you're trying to build up a little engine. So I keep saying we don't like engine building games, and I guess a lot of games have engine building in them. If you've seen our Everdell videos, we really like Everdell, and that kind of has engine building in it too. We push it to the back of our head. Maybe it's just terraforming Mars engine building we don't like. But what you're trying to do in Funfair is you are drawing cards, playing cards to build up your fair. So you're going to start with a couple different pieces, maybe a carousel or a merry-go-round. You can add themes to it, like a pirate or a comic book or whatever. I think comic books in the Unfair. Either way, different themes, and you're trying to combo those together to make money, like concession stands or ticket takers. You're trying to also get points by getting similar things together. So for example, if I add a pirate theme and then I add a pirate worker, then I get more points at the end of the game. You can also get blueprints, which basically change the game and how it plays each round. So in one round, everybody might have to give each other a free card. In another round, everybody might get a free card, so forth. And you're playing from a central market, which kind of like a deck building game. We like our central markets and being able to play these, pull those cards out. And it's a little puzzle about how to optimize the cards that you have, because you get more points the more cards you add to a single ride, but at the same time, you want to have maybe all of the total rides there, the total locations that you can have, or you're waiting for that last location to finally show up so you can complete a project or objective card, I forget what they call them, and it doesn't ever come up. So you never get that last one, and now you're not going to get those points, or I don't remember if there's penalties if you don't complete them. But it's really neat. I really like Funfair. I unfortunately, and I'll preface this, it is on our coal list, and it's not on our coal list. Actually, it's beyond our coal list. We've already sent it on to an Extra Life backer. He asked for that as part of his incentives. And the reason I did that is because I wanted more variety in Funfair. I would like more themes. I'd like more things. They've kind of stated a couple times they really don't have plans to add expansions for Funfair, but they are for Unfair. For Unfair, they're going to make an expansion for every letter of the alphabet. So there's going to be a total of 26 expansions that add different mechanics to the game, add different themes, and then you can mix and match and add that variety. So kind of like with that asymmetric power and the variety, I like variety. We make a joke about it that if I were to ever start a restaurant, it would be called Samplers. I think I've mentioned that in a couple of videos, because I just want to try everything. And if I don't have lots of little things to try, I can kind of get bored of something if it doesn't change. And you'll notice that with a lot of the games that I have, a lot of the games that are on my list are very much about that change, about the story, about that no two games are feeling the same, right? A lot of games, especially unfortunately games that like Adri likes, which are very strategy or puzzle, they feel the same every time. It feels like you're playing the same puzzle. So that's kind of me. I want that variety. But so that's why we got rid of Unfair. We are getting Unfair, so we'll be playing that on the channel for you guys. But that is my number 22. All right, so our last one for this video, number 21.
My number 21 is Trekking the World. In Trekking the World, you have a big map of the globe and some locations in each continent. And you have some cards. Your cards are going to help you move. In this adventure, you're going to collect souvenirs, and then you have your deck of cards that have two purposes. They are location cards, and in order to go to a location, you need to collect some symbols on those cards. So that is how you're going to be able to go. I like this game because it's traveling around the world, but I love that it's educational somehow. So it has some countries, and then each card has information about
the tourist location, because that's what it's supposed to be, like touristy locations,
yeah.
Like going to Pisa or going to the Eiffel Tower, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think this is a game that is not too hard. So I think that many people, new gamers, or for a family, would be something nice to play.
Yeah, it's a very, very welcoming, very easy game. There's two of this series. There's Trekking the World and Trekking the National Parks. Trekking the World, I think it's the art, really. It just, between the two, the art is so much better on Trekking the World versus Trekking the National Parks. There are some mechanical changes we like better.
So that is my 21, Trekking the World.
Number 21, Trekking the World. All right, so my last one, my number 21, is actually another game we recently played, and I don't know, maybe I was just in a mood from playing another game that's similar to this, and that is Tiny Epic Zombies. So Tiny Epic Zombies, like most Tiny Epic games, is a big game in a small box. Same as most games, we played it cooperatively, but it can be played competitively against a zombie player. It can also be played, I believe, everybody against a zombie player, It can be played 1 versus 1, 2 versus. There are a bunch of different like modes that can be played in the game. So what you're doing in the game is you are a survivor. You're trapped in a mall. There's a central location, which is basically kind of like the fort that you guys have built. And then there is a bunch of stores around that location. And the little zombies are going to try to come in, fill that up, and break down the walls to your little survival shack area, basically where you've got yourself held up. During the game, you're going to have a couple objectives that you need to do to basically win the game. So for example, you might need to go around the board and find a cure, right? So there'll be little beakers with different numbers as you're trying to find a cure. You might need to go and capture some specimens. So you need to go, instead of killing the zombie, you need to capture the zombie by rolling the dice instead. Right? So once you complete those 3 objectives, you win the game. But on your turn, you're going to move. You have limited number of actions. You also have limited number of ways that you can attack. You can do a melee attack, but then you have a chance of injuring yourself. You can do a ranged attack, but unfortunately, if you do that, that is going to make you lose bullets, which unfortunately there is this, it's a unique mechanic of a track where your health and your bullets both go inwards. And if they ever get to the same spot, you die. And if you die, you come back as another zombie, like, I don't want to say mastermind, but lead zombie now. So now you have 2 lead zombies out there that are going to come and try to attack you. We luckily didn't die, so we didn't have that happen during our gameplay. This was a game that we played during Extra Life Game Day, and we played it very late. This was one of the last games we played, and it was fun. It wasn't, even with us being that tired, it was very light. It was very easy to understand, very low overhead. The most overhead is really remembering the order of operation, which we always struggle with, especially during a live stream and on a first playthrough. But it was unique and fun and light. And that's, I think, some reasons people don't like some of the newer Tiny Epic games as much is because they've started getting more complex along with the gamer level of the original games, because people that played the original games now have been playing all of them, and they've kind of made them a little bit more complex. Like Tiny Epic Dungeons is more complex than Zombies. I'd even say Pirates, to a small degree, even though they play completely different, is a little bit more complex than Zombies was. But no, I like Tiny Epic Zombies. Want to play it again. It is a nice little, I don't want to say it's a party filler game because it takes a little while to play, but it's a nice little beer and pretzels game, as it would be, as they call them, right? Just get out there, try to survive, try to kill some zombies, and have fun while you're doing it. All right, so that was our number 25 through number 21. Best top all games all time, all the time, every time. Of course, these are our opinions based on the games that we have played. We've not played every game. You can see what games we played by checking out the channel, because all the games we played are pretty much on the channel. If you would like to watch the rest of this series, see our 20 through number 1, what do they need to do?
Subscribe, activate notifications, and follow us on social media and
all that stuff. But until next time, guys.
Adios.
Peace.